Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, future Jiu-Jitsu world champion, Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. Also, we got RIZIN versus Bellator to go over, as well as a lot of news. Obviously, no UFC this week, no Bellator, no actual MMA or boxing in general, but we still got some stuff to talk about, thankfully. Before we get into all that, as always, we are brought to you by Rogue Energy and ELYXR. That is code Soundoff for both at each of their respective websites. If you're looking to kind of get energized, you're looking for some motivation to go to the gym, Rogue Energy is for you. If you're looking for the opposite end of the spectrum, want to get high and fucked up on Delta 8, that's not professional terms, but you guys know what you're getting into at this point with Delta 8. But ELYXR is the highest quality. Personally, I just kind of share how my Christmas went. I talked about it last week, but I got some distillate from ELYXR.com to make my own cookies. And by me I mean my girlfriend. So basically I got.
Whoa, did you really?
We did. So we did not do the math on how much each cookie was. So basically on Christmas Day I got way too high and
sounds fun.
Ended up just playing Mountain Blade all day. So, yeah, man. But yeah, overall though, if you guys want that same experience to happen, you go to ELYXR.com. They have tons of stuff. Angel can attest. I know that he's tried their products. Angel, you're a fan, right? You're a fan of ELYXR?
I've had fun with it.
He's had fun with it, you know. You guys can have fun too with code Soundoff, 10% off. They're pretty affordable compared to other Delta 8 in general. But, yeah, I still think that you guys should use them if you want to. And if you're looking for the opposite of that, RogueEnergy.com. Code Soundoff as well. Last Saturday night in the Saitama Super Arena in Saitama, Japan, Bellator MMA versus RIZIN. We finally got the co-promotion that we've been wanting, this Pride-esque show. We're going to have the best of Bellator taking on the best of RIZIN. We kind of knew going into this one that these fights are going to be competitive, but we also knew that there is a possibility for it to go completely lopsided in terms of the end result. And I said last week on the show that the funniest outcome would be if Bellator swept RIZIN. That's exactly what happened, folks. Bellator going 5-0 on the night. And I said that on Twitter again, that this was the funniest outcome. And the Bellator themselves liked the tweet, so that shows that they also think it's kind of funny.
Wait, no Kizzy?
Huh?
No Kizzy? They liked your tweet?
Yeah, Bellator, their official Twitter account, liked my tweet stating that this is by far the funniest outcome. So that's kind of funny. But look, man, yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy, man, pretty crazy. I mean, what are your thoughts on before we get into the fights themselves? Obviously, because the fights themselves, you know, if you look at the 5-0, it looks bad, but the fights themselves were actually very competitive, and nobody really got their. I mean, there was one fight, two fights, maybe that were a bit lopsided, but overall, they're all pretty competitive. How do you think about the event itself went, and did you get what you wanted out of it, man? I feel like this event had a lot of hype, specifically from us. You know, I know that some other podcasts were hyping up too. I had high expectations, but what did you think about it overall? Did it live up to the hype?
I'd say yes and no. You know what I mean? I don't think it reached its full potential, but I don't think it was far from it. And it's the first time, right? So you can only expect so much.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I was really hyped for it going into it. You know, obviously with all the results, the outcomes, I think it still had a lot to give. That you know.
Mm-hmm. So good, but not what you'd hoped. Is probably the best way to put it.
Good, but not great.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably about that. That's about how I feel about it too. I mean, I thought it was a fun event, and particularly the entrances, man. I mean, who was it? It was our boy Juan Archuleta who had a great entrance. You know, AJ McKee had a pretty badass one too. It was, you know, it was a good show, but not as great as I'd hoped for. As far as the action went itself, got to start off on the main event, man. AJ McKee defeating Roberto Souza by unanimous decision. AJ McKee saying, you know, he went into this saying, like, you know, I'm excited to use the soccer kicks, I'm excited to use stomps. Boy, did he. He did use him to pretty great effect. And overall, man, him picking up the win. There's a second win at lightweight. What are your thoughts on the fight, man?
Solid, man. It was a tough fight. He did some stuff that I didn't expect, like engaging on the ground, putting himself in these not so good positions, but getting, surviving them, getting out of them. It just goes to show his ability, right? And it also goes to show the ability of Roberto de Souza, right? He put him in some hard situations where, when he took his back, Josh, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, AJ McKee might actually get submitted here. He did it, but there were some transitions on the ground, some little situations where I was like, oh, fuck. Or where he was about to throw up the triangle, and just a lot of stuff like that where I was like, dude, this is like one bad move away from being, a submission. And it never ended up happening. And, credit to AJ, he even threw up his own submission at one point too. I was like, dude, could you imagine AJ McKee beats Roberto de Souza by submission? What?
Right.
What a night that would be. No, but it ended up being fun. I think it went to show the well-roundedness of AJ. Kind of his potential at 155. Kind of starting the year off strong for him, right? Especially with this 155 tournament that we're going to have that I'm assuming AJ will be in, especially coming off this win. And, Roberto, man, he's a tough guy. Credit to him. I think that was the first time in his career he's been outside of the first round.
Wow. That puts it in perspective.
Yeah, believe it or not, he had never seen the second round ever in his life.
Jesus.
And even in his loss. And his pro loss to Johnny Case, who also fought on this card. Well, not on this card, the RIZIN 40 card, technically, I guess, was a separation. That fight ended in the first round. So.
Damn.
Well, actually, no, I'm looking at it now. He did have one fight go to the second round, but that was the first fight he's had go to the third round.
Okay. All right.
But that still, that was, he hadn't seen the second round in years.
Right.
So, just in and of itself, that was crazy. Fuck, man. I'll throw it back at you. What do you have to say?
I'll be honest. I wasn't as worried as you were whenever, he got put in some precarious positions that I thought, man, if there's a guy out there, like, hypothetically, it wasn't hypothetical. It turned into reality, I guess, last Saturday, but like, Bellator was up 4-0. Who do you want out there to go out there and secure the sweep? I'm picking fucking AJ McKee, man. That kid was not gonna lose, so I wasn't as worried when he got put.
You picked McKee over Pitbull in that situation?
Damn right I would, yeah.
I don't know, I did.
Look, all I'm saying is, man, is AJ shines the lights are brightest. He had, obviously, they're tied 1-1, him and Pitbull, but like, look at the difference between the two wins. That first fight was way more hyped up than the second one, and AJ went out there and he did. He took care of business.
You said it before, Josh. Styles make match,
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, that was another thing too.
Yeah, obviously, but look, man, incredible performance by him. Maybe not incredible, but solid performance by him. He's going to be in that lightweight Grand Prix. I'm very excited to see how that's going to go. And overall, man, you gotta think this kid is still very, very young. Like he is still like he's just hitting his prime. He's 27 years old. AJ McKee has a bright future ahead of him, and I think it says a lot about Bellator that they chose to put him in the main event over Patricio. And I understand that Bellator, for the most part, and this is the way that it's been explained to me, like this was a RIZIN event. Bellator actually had very little actual, they did not have much to do with it. It's probably the best way to put it. But still, they still went ahead and decided to at least give their take of putting him in the main event. And he lived up to the hype, man. But as far as the rest of the card goes, co-main event, Patricio Pitbull also lived up to the hype, man. Goes out there facing our boy Kleber Quick Herbst. He goes out there, puts on a pretty good showcase, man. That's not to say that did not have moments, but ends up winning by the unanimous decision. What are your thoughts on this fight, man? And ultimately, Patricio picking up the win. We know there's a lot going on with him right now, man. He's thinking about dropping down to 135. If he doesn't, who knows what happens there? But ultimately, this card's kind of weird to recap because none of these fights had stakes. But what do you think, man?
The fight itself, I think, was a little lacking. I would have loved to see Pitbull kind of go, not trying to be disrespectful here, a little bit more after it. Get the finish, get him out of there. Because he was capable of doing that. I think he had the ability to do that in this fight. because his opponent, I wouldn't say he was allowing him to do it, but there was a clear difference in skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this fight had the biggest margin in that out of all the fights. It was very clear what Clipper wanted to do. It was very clear that Pitbull could do whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could see what one guy wanted to do, but one guy could do anything he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that kind of was a tough spot for Clever there. And like I said, I thought, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but I thought it was the most lopsided matchmaking out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like all the other matches were very well put together, were competitive. I felt like this one, even though it was champ v champ, I feel like in theory, it being champ v champ would have made it the best fight.
But in execution, we kind of knew going in it wasn't going to be.
And we knew that already, kind of. But you know, you never know in the moment when when everything's on the line, when the lights shine the most bright, and you have to perform, and you're in your home, you know, not necessarily hometown, but you're in your home promotion,
Country,
yeah, and everything. You expect certain results out of someone, and I felt like those results weren't provided. But nevertheless, it's how it goes. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Pitbull had a class performance. I mean, it was a sweep.
It was, and we kind of knew going into it that it was going to be one of the more lopsided fights. Now, I mean, Clever. I mean, he didn't get completely run out of there, but he didn't really have much in terms of any offensive success. Yeah, man. I mean, not a whole lot to say about this one other than that is pretty much what we expected, I suppose. We knew going into this one, like I think you put it pretty well there, but like on paper, champion versus champion, it should be competitive, but styles make fights, and we knew going into this one that Pitbull had the exact style to shut down Earth's game. And that's exactly what happened. So I can't be too surprised. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid win by Pitbull. No, you can't knock it whatsoever. It's a solid win by him. I'm personally more intrigued more than this fight. What do you think is next for Patricio Pitbull? He's obviously champion 145. The trilogy with McKee's right there, but he's talking about going down to 135. What do you want to see next for Patricio Pitbull?
I think for him, he's older. I mean, anything's just going to add on to the legacy. If he wants to go down to 135, go for it. I mean, no one's ever done that in a major promotion. I actually didn't know this until very recently, Josh, but someone on this card actually once held 3 belts, not at the same time, but at 3 different weight classes in the promotion. Mm-hmm. Our boy Juan Archuleta actually at one point, when he was fighting, I don't know what promotion he was in before Bellator, so I think it was King of the Cage, got the belt at 135, got the belt at 145, got the belt at 155, so it's possible.
It is.
But no one's ever done it at, you know, the premier promotion level when we're talking about the Bellators, the, you know, PFLs, the ones, and obviously the UFC. If you were to do that, I mean, Josh, 135 across the globe is the toughest division in the whole planet. Mm-hmm. If he does it, I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive. I mean, their 135 division is stacked. I mean, I'd say all those guys could very easily compete in the UFC and have no troubles and be ranked fighters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that is, look, I'm a big fan of Patricio Pitbull. I think I've said it many times on the show and for years now that he's in the discussion of the greatest fighter outside the UFC. I do think him going down to 135 is a bridge too much, even for him. Like that division, at least Bellator's division. Well, I think 135. If you look across like the globe, it's probably the greatest weight class on the planet right now. One's 135 is popping. Bellator's is fucking incredible. UFC all bangers. If you're looking at guys inside the top 15 and even below that. And Patricio, man, if you were to go ahead and he'd be fighting either Pettis or Stots, and I don't know if I like either one of those matchups for him. I mean, even guys like Danny Sabatello, I think would give him some problems. That's not to say that he wouldn't beat those guys, but it's going to be a very tall challenge if it does happen. But yeah, man, probably time to move on because we do have Koichi Horiguchi, and this is kind of the weirdest. Even whenever we talked about it, booking this fight was just kind of bizarre, and even having Horiguchi on this card, considering he's more of a RIZIN guy than he's a Bellator guy. But look, man, he's taking on Harasima Ugubo in their trilogy fight, ends up dominating him, winning by decision, moving to 3-0 in the series. Look, man, I'd say this is about what we expected here. I think, like, if we were talking about it last week, who do you expect to win? We put Horiguchi right near the top of the list, and goes out there and dominates and picks up the win once again. What do you think, man?
Awesome, man. I think the big thing was he was back at 120, 125, his weight class, I'd say. Because in his time in Bellator, he's been at 135. I think maybe that was a big factor for him. He looked comfortable in there, man. He seemed back in his groove, and look, he already had 2 wins over this guy. I think it was a nice way for him to rally back and kind of be back where he once was at. So I think it was a nice change of, not necessarily a change of pace, but a good way to reset. Like, fuck, man, I needed a one, and I got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the biggest thing coming out of this fight. Like, we knew going into this that it was a fight that Horiguchi needed to win, and he was probably going to win, and he did, man. I mean, obviously he picked up a win back in September, but prior to that he'd lost 3 of 4, and some of those are really bad knockout losses. Kaya Sakura and Sergio Pettis put him out, man, and then Patchy Mix dominated him. So he really needed to get right. He needed to get back on track, and he's done that in his last 2 fights. Impressive win by him, but nothing unexpected. I'm excited to see what happens with him next. I mean, we're talking about bantamweight division. I can't believe he's skipped over Horiguchi, man. I mean, he's still right there, He's 32. He's an old 32, though. You gotta remember, this kid's been around in the game since 2010. He's been fighting for a very long time. So, 2009 is when he began his amateur career. So, yeah, man, this kid's gone through the ringer. I'm excited to see what's next for him. But yeah, not all that unsurprising here. Juan Archuleta, though, dude, we got to talk about him because what would you say, Angel? Walk out of the night? I mean, there were some good ones, man, but he was in the running. He goes out there facing Sol Chu Kim. This is the closest fight on the card. I feel pretty secure in saying. It ended up being a split decision win for Juan Archuleta, the second win in a row. Look, man, first of all, thoughts on the walkout, because I saw that was all over people's timelines.
That's what everybody loved.
Yeah, and then ultimately thoughts on the win, because this is the closest that RIZIN got to picking up one.
I mean, look, I thought he won. I thought Juan Archuleta won.
Yeah. Same.
Walkout, I mean, look, one of the best walkouts we've had in, I'd say, a long time, man. Let's just keep it 100. I mean, granted, though, just with the way the sport is now, we don't get a lot of theatrics with sports, so that's when we get a cool walkout or, kind of a sick little theme going. It's everything, Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at the old days, I mean, fuck, all the walkouts were fucking sick in their own way,
Mm-hmm.
So, it makes a little sense why this got a lot of attention. But, I mean, I thought he won the fight, Josh. Was it close? Yes, but he won, in my eyes, he won the fucking fight.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'm surprised it was a split, honestly, but, I thought he pretty cleanly won the fight. Look, man, as far as the walkout goes, probably my favorite one of the night. And Archuleta is that type of guy to do that one. But, yeah, I'd say it was probably the closest fight on the card, but I did think Juan Archuleta won, and solid win by him. Second one in a row. Obviously, he beat Enrique Barzola earlier this year. Look, man, if there was going to be a fight RIZIN was going to win, it's going to be this one. We said that, and still came up short, man. I mean, look, the card itself was awesome, but once again, it was a rough night for RIZIN. It did not get any better in the opening fight either. Because in the opening fight of the main card, Gadzi Rabanov defeating Koji Takada. We both said this is going to be a fun fight. It did actually turn out to be a pretty fun fight, but once again, Bellator picking up the win. We picked him mainly because of his Russian name, and it worked out, Angel, because it always does. What are your thoughts on him picking up the win, though? And Bellator, this is starting off the night. They started off the night with this one. So, what are your thoughts on it?
They started off strong. Koji, I think he ended up being one of the people who took the most damage out of everybody, right?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, he got. I mean, at least on the RIZIN Bellator card, RIZIN 40 card, different story. A lot of people took damage there.
A whole lot of damage. We'll talk about that soon. But
Darren Elkins.
Oh, jeez. He wasn't there, but
yeah. No.
But yeah, man. I mean, it was a pretty fun fight. But yeah, man. I mean, honestly, this is gonna sound weird, and as hyped as I was for that the Bellator X RIZIN card. So for the uninitiated, RIZIN 40 took place. RIZIN 40 was technically the prelims And Bellator X RIZIN, which was the 5-fight main card, was technically a whole separate different entity, but it took place on the same card. So RIZIN 40 was technically the prelims. Angel, thoughts on RIZIN 40 and what fights are you most looking forward to talking about there? Because god damn, dude. Finishes galore.
Oh man. I mean, we gotta start off with, I think it was the quickest finish of the night. Johnny K is coming out and knocking out his opponent, dude. Seconds in. Holy fuck.
Yeah. He was in no time. 36 seconds in.
36 seconds in. I mean, that was a sick finish. I don't think it was a finish of the night, though. I think finish of the night went to someone else.
Who, Angel?
It was literally one right after Yuki Motoya with a knee on Rogerio Bonch. Dude, Josh, you know, a lot of times you see, I'm never one who personally reacts to knockouts like, oh fuck, that was a bad one. You know, I never really say that. Even if it was bad or if someone else says it was bad, I'm always kind of like, I'm not saying I'm unimpressed. It just takes a lot to impress me or I just don't give a lot of reactions. For some reason, Josh, this one hit me a little bit. I was like, damn, that's fucking bad.
Yeah, man, that was a rough one to watch. That was obviously Rogerio Bonch left the UFC earlier this year. I believe this was his RIZIN debut, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was. Dude, brutal. And I want to go back to the Johnny Case one real quickly. Did you see the weigh-in for that fight?
No, what happened?
So, obviously, Johnny Case weighed in completely fine, but his opponent, Nobitsu Osawada, weighed in and nothing. He wore a sign around his dick, and then he had nothing else on but a bow tie.
What a legend.
And Johnny Case, that's got to be an awkward situation to be in. He kind of laughed it off, but there was no laughing matter when they got in the ring the next day, man. Brutal finish. But dude, like you said, not the only brutal finish. Rogerio Bonch got put out. Dude, we gotta throw some praise in John Dodson's direction, though, man. I mean, God, former UFC veteran, 38 years old. You don't think about it, man, but he is old for combat sports, especially that weight class, dude. Since leaving the UFC, he's had a bit of a mixed run. You know, he had a fight in ex-MMA that he lost. He won one, though. You know, he beat Ryan Benoit by knockout and bare knuckle. But outside of that, he has not finished a fight in MMA since 2020. It had been, you know, nearly 3 years when he knocked out Nathaniel Wood. He goes in there facing Hideo Takoro, who's probably collecting AARP checks at this point. And he just brutally finishes him.
I shouldn't have to do my mans like that.
He is 45. He's 45 years old, Angel. He probably shouldn't be. He's been fighting longer than he's been alive.
I know. I think I said this last week. I think I literally said the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I mean, it went about the way you expected, but still, I mean, John Dodson wasted no time, man. I mean, a minute 43 knocks him out. Very, very impressive, and I could not be happier for him. But another big name, Junior Taffa, the brother of Justin Taffa, knocking the fuck out of our boy Tsuyoshi Sanzo, former sumo wrestler, gets, you know, handing him the second loss of his career. Thoughts on those fights and any of the ones you want to highlight before we move on to news, man?
No, there's just some good ones to highlight. All of those were really fun. You know, some sick finishes in there. Not much to add to it outside of that.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough, man. I mean, overall, super fun card. I hope they do this one again, you know. No guarantees. I think that RIZIN they're probably considering things after the way that this card went, but overall, a whole lot of fun fights. And one last one I do want to go ahead and highlight, dude, because we kind of skipped over it. Naoka Inoue defeating Kenta Taizuka by Kimura. Very impressive win. I've been keeping my eye on this kid, Naoka Inoue, for a while. Very impressive. Obviously, he actually, a lot of people don't know this, fought in the UFC twice, went 1-1. He got released after a split decision loss to Matt Schnell in 2018. And since then, he's been putting on some fucking highlight reel wins in RIZIN, dude. He lost to Okabugo, who fought on this card, and they fought in the RIZIN Grand Prix, Bantamweight Grand Prix semifinals. Came up short, but got a big win to rebound here, man. So fun prospect he is. I guess he's maybe not a prospect at this point in his career, but overall, still a fun guy to watch. I mean, so I want to go ahead and shout out him getting the submission win last weekend. But Angel, we got some news. Dude, and this is kind of a weird news section because we really don't have. We got some fun stuff, but the first couple ones are actually really fucking serious. And
how serious, Josh?
I figure we should start out. It's super serious. Dana White putting out an ad for the Slap League. The only unfortunate part of that is that it was an ad he did not know he was a part of, and it took place in a Las Vegas nightclub on New Year's Eve. We don't really have much details besides this, outside of the fact that Dana was out with his wife, and they were supposedly drinking, because what else would you do on New Year's Eve in a Las Vegas nightclub?
Same.
And she slapped him, and he slapped her like 3 or 4 times afterwards, and they got separated.
Wait, did you say it was Las Vegas? I'm pretty sure they were in Mexico, dude. I kid you the fuck not.
For real? I heard it was Vegas.
I thought they were in Cabo. I swear to God, I heard some. Look, man, there's some misinformation here. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I mean, let me see. I mean, if we can get confirmation on this, Dana White. You're right, Cabo. They were in Cabo. I was wrong.
Guys, man, Josh, call me professional reporter, Angel Ortega.
I know, spreading misinformation.
God, dude, you should be fired, Josh.
I agree. But anyways, man, yeah, so he ends up slapping her a couple times,
Couple times, huh?
A couple times. They end up getting separated. They said that it's completely fine and that they've talked with their kids about it and yada, yada, yada. So, Angel, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? And, honestly, there's not a whole lot to say in terms of, thoughts, but, do you think that Dana will face any repercussions? I mean, what do you think, man? What's your best guess?
Probably not. Probably won't face anything.
No?
No, I don't.
You don't think anything will happen?
Probably not. I don't think anything will. It would have already happened.
You think so?
I feel like it already would have happened. I kid you not.
You know what I think is interesting? I think it's interesting that, nobody, if you, the way that the media is covering this is strange. If you check, MMA Junkie, they didn't put their name on it. They said, MMA Junkie staff, MMA Fighting, same thing. TMZ, they, did some fluff piece. It's just kind of weird. You know what I mean? What do you think about the response to this whole situation? Because I'm seeing, a lot of more people than you would think are kind of taking Dana's side on this one.
I'm surprised. I was surprised just with the way the world is now and just kind of some of the responses I'm seeing on Instagram and Twitter, and they're not from, they're from men and women kind of being they're like, fuck, she hit first,
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, oh shit, okay guys, this is the way we're going.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that, she did hit him first, but I think if you're a roided up 50-year-old man who's a damn near billionaire, I think you should probably control yourself a little bit more, you know what I mean?
I mean, at the same, like I said, Josh, at the end of the day, no person's on the right. She hit him, he hit her back.
No, of course not. It's two fucking dumb drunk people.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
That's true. Dude, it's just been bizarre seeing the response. Not the response. Just this whole situation's weird. ESPN didn't cover this. No real actual big outlet has covered this. And I'm just saying, if there was a president, dude, if Roger Goodell slapped his wife 3 times in public, you know what I mean? Yeah, it would.
If Adam Silver, Josh,
dude, if Adam Silver was out here beating up his baby mama, there'd be some problems,
There'd be some riots in the street for that, dude.
I don't know about riots in the street, but definitely.
I don't know. So
yeah, it's just weird, man. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this one because it just happened, and we have no idea what the repercussions would be. And all I'm saying is you can't come back from hitting a woman unless you work for the UFC, and then it's completely it's all good.
Has anybody come back from hitting a woman?
John Jones multiple times.
There you go, Josh.
Well, I guess John Jones. He only technically hit a woman. He was only arrested for it once, but he was hit for hitting a woman with an automobile another time. So he did not do it with his physical hands. But I mean, Greg Hardy, But you can't come back from it. You can't come back from it. That's what Dana said. Somebody found an old interview from like 2019.
Did they post it?
Huh?
Did they post that interview?
Yeah, you can find it. Just
look
up Dana White. You can't come back from hitting a woman. You can see his comments about it. It's just it's really fucking weird, man.
Is Dana gonna make a response? You think Dana comes out and he makes like
Dana already? So the whole reason why this happened is because TMZ, somebody probably sent him the video, probably got paid for it, and they contacted Dana and they basically like, oh, Dana, do you even remember, man? I mean, what even happened here, bro? I mean, you know how TMZ is,
Yeah.
Like, they're not exactly doing any fucking investigative journalism. It was basically just a fluff piece interview where interviewers like, oh, this has never happened and yada, yada, yada. And, I don't know, man. I mean,
Dana's like, the footage is doctored. It's not real.
I'm surprised he didn't take that approach. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that was not me, Just.
Dude, crazy that someone caught it, like, at the exact time. Like, they must have seen him arguing or something.
Guaranteed, yeah.
Still crazy, though.
I'm saying is, if I see Dana White arguing with his wife and then they're right by me, shit, I'm taking out my camera and I'm hoping that something happens. Contacting TMZ, getting paid,
Do you think TMZ probably pays good for that kind of stuff? I actually wonder.
Yeah. I guarantee they pay pretty well.
Shit, I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe. But yeah, man, just a dumb situation. And, as interesting as the story is, I think it's even more interesting seeing, like, the media silence, So somebody just reached out to TBS and ESPN for comment on Dana White. ESPN said ESPN does the distribution and UFC produces the content, so that's not even a comment at all about the domestic violence. So there you go. Interesting, man. Very interesting. And very, very strange how the media is reporting this. You know what I mean? That's my only thing. We'll see if anything happens. I don't expect anything too, because I feel like if anything was going to happen, it would require like a bigger media response, and this shit's kind of getting swept under the rug. You know what I mean? So
are they trying to cancel Dana? Nobody's trying to cancel Dana.
Nobody's trying to cancel Dana, but it's still like, even pretending to give a fuck would be interesting. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think anybody really cares. Maybe because it's just so it's so early on in the year.
It's early in the year. I think it got dropped at a really weird. It got dropped at like fucking Monday night at 9 p.m. Like,
and we've had all this other stuff going on too.
They dropped it in the middle of the Bills-Bengals game where somebody might die. So I mean, it's just a great timing on their part. You know what I mean? They were probably sitting on this for like a day or two, so just interesting, man. Somebody who works in media and like, I've never, the way they're treating this is like, like whenever like a mob boss gets arrested, you know what I mean? They don't want to say anything because they're like, oh shit, he might get out. I might get whacked if I say something. You know what I mean? It's like that. You know what I mean? Nobody's even putting their names on this shit. Like some websites aren't even covering it. It's just weird, but
it's just been TMZ, right?
It's TMZ. Well, everybody has covered it, but if you look at like MMA Fighting and MMA Junkie and some of these other websites, they'll instead of putting an author's name on it, they'll say like MMA Junkie staff writer or MMA Fighting news writer. You know what I mean? Like, they won't put anybody's actual name on it because they probably don't want people to actually like get banned from UFC events or whatever. We did that at BJPenn.com where we actually put somebody's name on it because we don't give a fuck, No,
they just put a random person's name. They put your names in a hat.
Put your name on it, Angel.
They're like, oh man, we pulled out Josh Evanoff of Canton.
I'm like, fuck! No, I did see that story break. I'm like, I'm not writing that up. Like, it's just... No, I'm joking. It was already taken beforehand, but yeah, man, just weird. But I think it's probably about time to move on to another legal situation. This one there's way more clarity on because the entire internet saw it happen in real time. Andrew Tate, who is in talks to face Jake Paul in a boxing match, I guess he's technically still a kickboxer. He fought like a year or two ago against some can in Romania. But yeah, dude, arrested on charges of sex trafficking. Angel, the Matrix finally got to him. The Matrix finally got to him, Angel. What was your instant reaction? Because this happened while he was feuding with Greta, the global warming chick. You know her.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, I kept up with it.
Can't think of her last name, but that happened while they were feuding. Thoughts, Angel. Thoughts, opinions.
It's wild, man. I mean, he got arrested. I mean, it's Top G getting arrested. He's kind of taken over the internet in the last year?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Last 2 years. I mean, he's kind of I'd say like pretty much anybody who's on the internet who's probably in their maybe even late to early mid-20s and even in high school probably know or aware of Andrew Tate in some way. And even beyond that too. So
yeah. Yeah, man, it's definitely interesting, Look, man, I don't have too many thoughts on this. I mean, this is gonna derail any sort of plans for any boxing. Like, here's the thing, right? Like, for the people that have the internet are so desensitized to stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I say that if somebody's on the internet, I'm super desensitized to crime. You know what I mean? And just crazy shit happening. But I'll put it like this, dude. Like, you don't get charged. Like, you don't get your house raided and charged with sex trafficking, human trafficking. They don't just whoop, guys, swatting. We got to go arrest this guy and hold him for an undetermined amount of time. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how that works. So obviously, innocent until proven guilty. That's very important to note. But they're not arresting his ass. They're not arresting one of the most famous people on the planet, who, by the way, is rich and has tons of money if they don't have any sort of evidence. So, yeah, obviously innocent until proven guilty, but that's kind of my thoughts on it. Like, if you think
granted, though, it is another country, Josh. I mean, we don't know how shit runs out there, too.
No, obviously I don't. But
I don't.
No, but, I mean, Andrew Tate was on record saying that he went to Romania, so. Actually, it could have been Tristan, but either way, they both talked about how relaxed Romanian laws are, which definitely does not help their case, Yeah, and he also said that Andrew said that he paid off Romanian authorities, which is probably the issue with that is that if you're going to do that, you can't immediately say that you paid those people off. So, yeah. Anyways, man. I mean, not too many thoughts.
There's still a lot that needed to come out before.
There's still a lot that needs to come out. I mean, there was already people saying, Andrew, dude, I'll say this much. Andrew Tate is an incredibly smart businessman, dude. He really, he might be a piece of shit, but goddamn, he is, when it comes
to make money.
When it comes to staying out there, dude, dude, think about this. Cause there was so much misinformation. People think he's free, dude. Like, you thought he was free. Cause, he posted from his Twitter account,
I was like, there's no way I can think, because I was like, this fucker's out already.
And I saw some.
But like I told you, would you not really be surprised though? Like, it wouldn't be surprising if he actually did though. That's the thing.
No, of course. But even then, when I saw his tweet about the Matrix sent their agents, I'm like, dude, I feel like internet personalities think they're way more important than they are. Like, nobody gives a shit that Andrew Tate. Nobody in government cares about Andrew Tate. Is all I'm saying. But I was gonna make a point, but fuck. Yeah, tons of people thought that he was already out, and that it actually had. I saw a rumor that I was like, oh yeah, it had nothing to do with human trafficking. It was about finances or some shit or taxes or whatever, and that was a lie. You know what I mean? And what we know is that there was a woman who the specifics of his arrest is there was a woman who flew to Romania because she thought that her and either Andrew or Tristan, she had a thing with one of them. And whenever they got there, they threw her in a room and told her to cam and that she couldn't leave. And she somehow was able to contact somebody on the outside and they contacted the authorities, and they got there and they found 5 other victims who said that they had the same thing happen to them. So it looks pretty fucking bad. It looks pretty bad, but yeah, he's under detainment for at least 30 days, but I'm assuming they can re-up that, yeah. It looks pretty fucking bad, man. But we still have to see how it goes. I mean, if they're really going to put this guy on trial, it's going to be the trial of the century. I mean, it's going to be the new Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, Angel.
Yeah, that shit went crazy, dude.
That shit went crazy, and that was everywhere. So I'm assuming that it'll be like that times a million. Because if you're already seeing shit about Andrew Tate, guys, he's already out, and he didn't do it. He's doing this, he's doing that. Holy shit, dude!
I don't know, dude. That Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial went crazy because, dude, you ever seen that shit? It was tip jars. It'd be it was Amber Heard or Johnny Depp or some shit like that.
Yeah,
stuff like that. I mean, that really did go beyond just get self,
I know, but you know what? They're gonna make it. They're gonna make the Andrew Tate thing even bigger because all of his fanboys are gonna. They're gonna make those. I guarantee you're already seeing them too. It's gonna be like, they said they were gonna arrest me, and they said that, I'm afraid they might kill me, and all that shit. And then it's like him coming out being arrested with like the epic music playing, like they're already on it. And I'm like,
not even the epic music, his theme song.
I know, and I'm like, fuck. It goes insanely hard. God damn it! Like, it's just. But yeah. So that's what we got for that one. I mean, look, dude.
Insert Disney music now.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna keep along with it, and we'll keep on covering this. But dude, it's not over here. Like, I know a lot of Tate fanboys and a lot of dude, buckle up. This shit is just getting started, dude. Like, if you don't get arrested on human trafficking, charges for nothing. So, anyways, but dude, another big story, which is not exactly like a positive one. Angel, are you aware of Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro?
I'm not aware of the situation, but I know he's at Jose Aldo's house.
Yes, so he is at Jose Aldo's house.
I heard about the minion room.
The minion room. Okay, so this is, and I wrote about this yesterday for BJPen.com, greatest website on the planet, but life is like stranger than fiction. Like Jair Bolsonaro, who is this Brazilian president who just lost an election in October, and by the way, if you guys don't know Jair Bolsonaro, that dude is wild. Like, if you thought Trump was wild, just escalate it by like 100. Like, he's out here saying shit like, he was talking to he was arguing with some other politicians. Like, I wouldn't even rape you. Like, you are below me. And then somebody asked him for a comment, and he's like, "No, I meant it. She was ugly." Like, it's like, and he's like, somebody asked him like over the course of his presidency, which has been like the last 4 years, he's like, "Fuck yeah, I support dictatorships. I want to be president for life. What do you mean? Hell yeah, that's the way to go." But he lost an election in late October. He lost to Lula, and then he basically did the whole thing like, "Oh, it was rigged against me," and yada yada yada. He was going to be probably charged with criminal criminal charges, and then before the end of the year, because the other guy was going to be inaugurated on January 1st. This is part of some big tradition. We're like, the Brazilian president, he's there for the other one's inauguration. It's a symbol of unity. That motherfucker said YOLO, left the country, and is now living in Jose Aldo's minion room.
Well, we don't know, but
in my head, he is living in the minion room. So, yeah, I mean, Angel, I think I laid it out there as best as I can. So, I mean, give me your thoughts.
That shit's wild. We live in that reality where the fucking president of Brazil is in Jose Aldo's house.
Yeah.
Right now, in Florida.
In Florida. And somebody just caught him out eating at KFC the other day, too.
Really?
President. Yeah.
By himself, or was he with Aldo?
Just by himself, I believe, yeah.
Sad.
It's kind of sad, yeah. I mean, look,
Is there a picture of him at KFC? Please send me that, lady.
Yeah, hold on, I can find it for you right now. I'm gonna put it in the video, too, on TikTok, too.
Shout out TikTok.
Shout out TikTok, fucking people who follow us, But yeah, man, I mean, this man, for real, out here, somebody said, I just sent it to you on Twitter. I will pay a large commission for a painting of this photograph of Brazil's disgraced ex-president Jair Bolsonaro eating KFC in Orlando, Florida on the day of Lula's inauguration.
Dude, this motherfucker literally got right up in his face. What the fuck? He's right there in front of him.
Jesus Christ. I can't. And dude, MMA fighters fucking love this dude, bro.
Why?
Yeah, he might be pro-dictator, anti-woman. Already said he'd kill his son if he was gay, you know what I mean? But Chris Cyborg's like, fuck yeah, give me 4 more years, bro.
What is his political agenda? Do we know what he wants outside of a dictatorship?
Here's the thing is people dude, you could just Google this. It's not even that difficult to find. There was I follow a political guy, Kyle Kalinske, shout out my boy. And he had made a video one time where he was talking about and he just went down and all he did for 10 minutes was just read quotes from Jair Bolsonaro. And
shit is wild, man.
Yeah, he's he has stated that he is far right, and that he's, he has made statements that some people considered insulting, homophobic, violent, inciting, misogynistic, sexist, racist, anti-refugee. Other controversial political stances expressed by Bolsonaro have been the defense of the death penalty, which is currently banned, of a radical interventionism in Brazil by the military, along with the imposition of a Brazilian military government. He's been called the most misogynistic, hateful elected official in the world, and he just became the first. Here's how shitty this guy was, alright? Brazil Angels, think about this. Brazil as a country, as a country, has been around since September of 1822.
Oh shit!
This guy is the first ever president to lose re-election. The first in history. That's how bad this guy was at his job. So.
But there's also like pro people for him though in his country.
No,
right?
there is pro people for him.
Isn't there like a crazy divide? Like where like the people are like fighting themselves? Like there's like
there's not really much of a divide. It's the same thing that happened here, where basically like Yair, supporters threw a big fit and like went out and protested in the streets, and they said they were gonna do shit, and they ended up doing nothing. Basically the same thing that happened here. Couple of UFC, I'm not naming names because some of them actually follow me, but wasn't it actually like real bad? Like they had to like shut down airports. There were a couple of
there were some sectors where it was bad.
There were some sectors where it's bad. What's interesting is people don't talk about how close we got to a straight up coup. Like that motherfucker could be in power right now. Because I remember correctly, the military was on his side, but the police force wasn't. And I could have that mixed around, but like
I think that's how it was. Yeah, like I think I had heard that the military was like pro him. They were down.
They were totally down to stage a coup.
That or police. I don't know, but they were.
It was either or. But his own party turned against him, which is why he ended up having to leave. Because
So is he like a major? Like he's just staking it out here just because he?
If he stayed in Brazil, he would have been criminally prosecuted for trying to overturn the election. Yeah.
No extradite from the U.S. to Brazil. I'm guessing.
There could be. That's what's about to happen to that congressman. Dude, the U.S. is such a shitty state right now. I don't want to get too much into like political stuff. Like, have you heard about what we're talking about Brazil and extradite? Have you heard about this guy George Santos, Angel?
No, I don't.
This dude George Santos, okay. So I'm putting exclamation points. I'm putting exclamation points. You know what I mean? Or not exclamation quotes. I'm putting everything in quotes right now. He is a gay Republican House of Representative who just got elected, and he's going to be put into office today. It's sworn in today. And after he won the election in the last 2 weeks, they found out every single thing that he said is straight up a lie.
So he's not gay.
He may not be. He said he was a gay, half Brazilian, half German whose parents immigrated from Nazi Germany, and his mom died in 9/11. And he went to two different business schools. Wait, I'm not done. He went to two very different business schools. He graduated from there. He worked at a Silicon Valley, I believe, firm, and now he's a representative for California. They contacted the schools, did not happen. He did not work any sort of tech job. But he is Brazilian, not half German, though. Parents had nothing to do with fucking Nazi Germany. But he is Brazilian, lived in Brazil when he was 18, apparently did some fucking fraud, and now they're going to extradite his ass back to Brazil because they couldn't find him.
Yeah, we got to talk off of that shit more off air, dude.
I know. Isn't that fucking crazy? So, my overall point...
But how did he represent himself again? Repeat it one more time.
He was, in quotes, a half gay... not half gay.
Yeah.
God damn it! I meant
that's going on the TikTok, Josh. You're just gonna show like half a pride flag, dude. half gay, Josh. I believe it or not, Josh. I now identify as half gay. I'm only gay half the time. The other time, I can't decide.
I'm a half gay Native American man, God damn it. Okay, so to go back to the original, he's a half Brazilian, quotes, half gay, God, full on gay. Allegedly full on gay. Half Brazilian, half German, whose grandparents survived the Holocaust, but mom died 9/11.
So he's also Jewish.
You're right, Jewish too. Forgot that. Duh, Jewish. Okay.
And what party does he represent?
Republican.
Supposedly.
Coming out tomorrow. I'm actually for the Reform Party of California, not
the Green Party.
The Green Party. No, so, and then, like, in my head, it's like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that one meme, Pepe Sylvia, and it's just all the lines connecting out and fucking, cause he went to two different business schools, Angel. Graduated from them both. What a hell of a guy. How has this guy not been a politician previously? You know what I mean?
So, and supposedly he got his money through fraud.
Yeah. In Brazil. But he said that he worked at some, like, tech firm in Silicon Valley, I think. Like.
It doesn't exist, supposedly.
No, this is the craziest story come out of the wall. And that dude is gonna be put into office today. So I'm not sure, is he allowed to work from his Brazilian fucking jail cell or what? Like.
I guess we'll find out, dude.
We'll find out. But the overarching point, I have no clue if they'll extradite Jair Bolsonaro. I have no idea. But I've heard that apparently he has like 5 criminal referrals. Or they were going to give him 5 criminal referrals for his stuff that he did in office. But yeah, man, crazy. And now, he's staying in Jose Aldo's minion room, so that's sweet. But anyways, lighter news. Let's get back strictly to MMA. Half injured Tatiana Suarez. No, just half everything. But Tatiana Suarez, we have not seen her in quite a long time. Probably the greatest women's prospect I've ever seen. Female Khabib won the Ultimate Fighter, beat the dog shit out of names like Carla Esparza. Been out of action for over 3 years actually. June 2019, whenever she beat Nina Nunes by decision. She is reportedly looking to return in February. This is the second time we talked about her. She was supposed to be fighting in September 2021 against Roxanne Modafferi, but pulled out due to injury. Thank God that fight did not happen. Look, man, Tatiana Suarez, I think she's going to bring a whole lot of life to whatever division she comes back. She said that she's interested in women's flyweight as well as women's strawweight. What division do you want to see her return at, and who do you want to see her fight? Let's fucking book it.
I just want to see her back. Like, I don't care, dude. When I see her back, she's been out for how long? Like, oh my God. June 2019, I think was her last fight. Wow. 2023 return.
Yeah.
It's been a while. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. And how old is she now? I know she's not in her early 20s or nothing like that, but I know she's not old either.
She is not old, no. I mean, she's probably old in terms of, like, MMA years. Just because of injuries and shit. She's 32. She just turned 32. So.
Dang. And with the injuries, man, you never know. You never know.
You never know. I mean, I think she needs a light touch when she comes back. I want her to face somebody like relatively.
Josh, like if Sarah McMahon was still in the UFC.
Nah. I mean, so she's probably going to come back with women's flyweight, right? I think a solid fight. I mean, just because.
Just be competitive though too, because you also want to.
Cynthia Calvillo, how do you feel about that?
I feel like
Calvillo's lost 3 in a row, but she is active and still ranked.
No, you're right. I don't know. I don't. Like I said, I don't think it matters as long as she comes back and it's a name. So I guess yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think that is I think that's the fight to make. But
I mean, if I had to pick one.
But obviously, we don't know if she's coming back at 115 or 125 either.
Yeah, and if you look, we need to see how she comes back. We don't know how she's going to look. She could look even better, though, which is a scary thought.
I mean, I would doubt it, but weirder things have happened.
You never know, man. I mean, she's already good. She can only get better, right?
Yeah, she's super good. I mean, if you guys don't, it's kind of crazy to see like the growth of MMA. Like, there are a lot of fans that have probably never seen Tatiana Suarez fight. Like, ever since COVID happened and UFC like had like a big boom period, like Tatiana Suarez hasn't fought since then. Like most people probably, not most obviously, but I'd say like a fair amount of fans have not seen her compete.
Is
So
there
they're
actually
either not
something to back up that statement, Josh? I'm not saying it's not true, but has there actually been a big boom in MMA like as a whole since COVID?
Yeah.
Or at least in the UFC, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, the UFC did very, very well in the pandemic. I mean, if you look up their pay-per-view numbers, they've killed it ever since the pandemic because because there was nothing going on and they were the only sport that was consistently on every single week with no issues.
Is that sustaining though? Like obviously pay-per-views, yeah, I mean that's a different story, right? You know, yeah, obviously there was a lot that helped, but as a whole though, are they? And like, have those never been like the numbers that came in? Have they stayed around? I mean, I know that's kind of like a hard question to ask you, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe you know. That's what
I mean, I'd still say that even now, like, there's more people that pay attention to the UFC than ever. I'll put it like that.
No, you're right. And yeah, I guess that I'm thinking about it a little bit harder, I guess.
So the most recent article I could find is shout out Kevin Ioli, G of the game, of the MMA coverage game, been around forever, but he did an article in April. And since the UFC's return to packed audiences, Saturday's event will be the 14th in which full capacity is permitted. All 14 of those pay-per-views have sold out. 6 times UFC set a record for highest grossing gate at the arena. They UFC 264 had a $15.8 million gate, which is one of the biggest in UFC history. Dana said that the business is on fire. And, quote, what happened was we had pay-per-views doing 3 to 4 times maybe what we normally expect. There was one, I think, which projected around 250,000. It came out just under $1 million, like 960,000.
Whoa, I wonder what pay-per-view that was.
I have no clue. But they are having a lot of success, dude. I mean, if you go back and look at some of those COVID cards, they did crazy numbers now. I don't know how much that is continued in terms of pay-per-view success, but they're still selling out every single week. I don't think UFC has not had, well, I don't know what the number's at now, but they've had they're on a long string of sellouts, you know.
It's gonna be sad when that stops, dude.
I think it'll happen probably next year. I think right now they're still hot. They're still really hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you.
And plus, think about the fights that are gonna happen this year, man. Like all the champions lost last year, and like some people are like, oh, that's bad news for the UFC. Fuck that, dude. No. You know what's gonna be even bigger is seeing those names come back and try to get redemption.
Yeah. And then, supposedly John Jones, right? I mean, that's
I believe it when I see it.
I mean, you're gonna see it.
You know what? I hope I do, but dude, like last time John Jones fought, I was in fucking college. It's like it's just.
That's like John Jones.
Last time John Jones fought, there was not a pandemic in. The last time John Jones fought, Drew Brees was still playing fuck that. Vince Carter was still playing in the NBA.
Oh, fuck, man.
Doesn't that put in perspective?
Was it 2019?
He fought in February of 2020. The last time that John Jones fought, the Toronto Raptors were the defending NBA champions. The last time John Jones fought, the Chiefs hadn't even won the Super Bowl yet. Angel, the last time John Jones, I just keep on going, like.
There's a lot of things that happen.
If this were not John, okay, I know that we're going way off topic, but like, who really cares? You know what I mean? Like, if this were, it's our podcast, like, you guys can fucking deal with it, but, if this were anybody but John Jones, would we feel the same way? Like, if there was some guy who took off 3+ years of action and they came back, would we have high expectations for him? I bet we'd probably think that you get fucked up. Especially coming off of John's last week's performances at 205. You know what I mean?
I don't know what happened.
Like, am I crazy to think this?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'll put it like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. That's kind of the way I feel about it. I feel like if I see a lot of people be talking about like, oh, whenever John comes back, how will he do at heavyweight? Like, the real answer is we have no fucking clue. We have no clue what he's going to do. You know?
But we need to see it.
We do need to see it. I think that some people are overestimating how well he will do, but I also think there's some people that are underestimating because we really don't know.
If John comes back this year, Josh, realistically, how many years do you think he has left?
He's 35 now. I'd say he's out within the next 5.
Really? You give John 5 more years?
I'm just saying within the next 5. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could see him fighting to early 40s. DC fought till he was early 40s. I think that when you're in that higher,
now, do you think
weight class,
do you think that's only if he's successful at heavyweight?
I think if he goes out there and gets deaded by Ngannou, I think we never see John again.
Really?
Yeah, I think maybe he might do a rematch and then get knocked out again. But I mean, Ngannou is the only guy I actually feel pretty secure about beating John. I think he can contend with everybody else. Like, I'd pick him to lose against Curtis Blade just because, like, I know Curtis is a meme among certain MMA fans, but, like,
Just weird.
Huh?
Just weird. It's weird that people think that.
I know, some people just don't like him. I guess they think he's boring or not an interesting personality, but, like, he is, like, skill set wise, the worst guy for John Jones to fight. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see if that one happens. I mean, Cyril Gane would be interesting. Stipe would be interesting, but, yeah, I think Ngannou is the only guy I'd feel, like, comfortable picking against Jones. But, yeah, I mean, you know, we gotta move on to the last topic. Kevin Lee, man, where does Kevin Lee fit into all of this? It's a good question. He thinks he fits in with in a matchup with Khamzat Chimaev. What do you think about that, Angel?
Oh, he wants a UFC return.
He wants a UFC return. That's right. He fought in Eagle FC, fought Diego Sanchez, beat him. And, dude, like, Eagle FC came on hot for a minute there, and we've heard nothing about them since. So very interesting.
I mean, they're still throwing events, though, aren't they?
I mean, I can look it up right now, but if you look up Eagle FC, I mean, they don't have anything on the books, I believe. I could be wrong. But they don't have, I know for at least a fact they don't have an MMA, like a US event on the books.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like their main thing is always going to be Russia, though. It makes sense. Or that Russian region, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, their last event was December 10th. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, they're going to take some time off. Seems like they threw a lot of fights. I mean, they had 51 events.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting, but I'm assuming that there's some sort of rift there. Otherwise, Kevin Lee would not have, you know. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said it.
You're not wrong. They did have the one event in the U.S., which was supposed to be you were supposed to have a fun fight of Jorgen De Cruster JDS, but JDS ended up getting fucking injured.
Yeah. So that was disappointing, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that next. I mean, do you have any real interest in? I mean, like Khamzat said, he needs a fight. He said he's trying to fight in February or March. He's already in training camp, but he can't get an opponent. I mean, worst case scenario, would you be down if they can't find literally anybody else? Would you be down for seeing Kevin Lee return to the UFC?
Why not? I guess, but I mean, it's not a name I'm particularly interested in seeing. I mean, there's so many other names I would rather see.
Yeah, I'd rather see Shavkat Rakhmonov than. Because he chimed in, he asked, where do I fit in this, you know? He replied to the tweet thread, so.
I did think I heard about the tweet, that particular response. I mean, look, Colby, where you at? Yeah, like, you know, there's names there. I mean, Bilal Muhammad was, you know, there's options.
There is, and very excited to see what happens next with Khamzat, but yeah, man. I mean, that's all we got for topics. Any other closing thoughts before we close out?
No, man. I mean, I'm just excited to come back next week and have an actual UFC event to talk about, get back into the action, talk about the rankings, talk about what's next for each guy, you know, and seeing who the next breakout star in the UFC is going to be this year, or upcomer, or big name, or next challenger. It feels like it's been forever, man. I'm dying, but you know it'll be here sooner than I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Very excited for the UFC to return. Very, very excited. But hope you guys enjoyed the show. Once again, quick shout to our sponsors, Rogue Energy and ELYXR. Code Soundoff for both of them. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at @NinjaKick_01 at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show on Twitter. We're also killing it on TikTok, and as I mentioned last weekend. Hope you guys continue to support us there as well as on YouTube. Peace and bud grease. Mouse click.